Welcome back to the show and our community building series. I'm your host, Charity Majors, and I want to chat a little bit today about going first when it comes to creating community. Now, here's a statistic that I want to share with you, and it's 1 in 3 women report feeling lonely. And whether this is you feel lonely in business or in motherhood or in deep connection, in friendships, in the hobbies that you like, whatever it might be, 1 in 3 women report feeling lonely. But here's the really interesting part is that everyone else is waiting for someone else to initiate connection. There is, for some reason, there are a lot of people, and I remember thinking this in the past, like when I was really craving deep connection and community, it's like I would see girls get together on Instagram and I would feel like, oh, like I didn't get an invite, or, oh, I wish I could have that, or, oh, like I want to do something like that, but nobody ever invites me. And here's the thing. It's not that they, like, in my experience, it's not, like, actually has nothing to do with, like, them leaving you out, or it wasn't even, like, for me in those past instances, it wasn't even about them leaving me out by any means. It was just more so, like, they were just getting together, and those were the few people that they were getting together with. And I remember when I started to really understand that everyone else is waiting for someone else to go first. I learned this more so in the business sector of like, okay, like everyone's waiting for permission to do the thing, or everyone's waiting for permission to write the book. Everyone's waiting for permission to like go pursue your big dreams and your big ideas. And it's the same thing when it comes to creating community. Most people are actually waiting for someone else to initiate connection. And so here's my challenge and my encouragement for you today is that you go first. If you want community and if you want connection, you have to get used to being the one that goes first, and being the one that goes first probably for a while. And there are still people that I go first the majority of the time, but it is such a life-giving friendship for both of us. And sometimes someone is just the initiator like the majority of the time, and another person, maybe that it just isn't where they're at in that season. And so there is grace for that. Now, when a friendship does kind of turn where it's not life-giving, where it's only like give, or only take, and it's not kind of a mutual exchange of life-giving friendship and connection, then there can definitely be, reevaluation about that friendship or about that connection. But here's like everyone else is waiting for someone else to initiate and to go first. Now, I'll be vulnerable here. Like, is it risky? Yes. Like, could you get rejected? Yes. Have I gotten rejected? Yes. Is it fun? No. Like, nobody likes to get rejected. That is actually literally the fear of rejection is one of our innate fears that we have from birth, right? If you think about it, when we are born, if we are rejected by our caregivers, and then ultimately, like, they don't hear the baby's cries, or, the baby isn't given food or, water, or like breast milk or formula or whatever, if that baby is rejected, then ultimately that rejection can then lead to either disconnection or, again, in extreme cases, into death. And so that fear of rejection is actually like innately there in us. So it's okay to like acknowledge that fear. Like, that probably won't be something that we will ever get over. And I think that we can also reframe it. I know Jamie Kern-Lima, in her new book, Worthy, she talks about rejection, how she has reframed it into actually like that it's God's protection, which I love that. But here's the thing is that when we are desiring that deep connection and desiring that deep community, we were actually created for it. Like we were created for community. We were created for connection. And it's risky and we can be really hurt in community. I know I have totally been hurt in community and continue to actually still have my heart open and be hurt in community. And it's messy and it's imperfect and it's frustrating and it's challenging and it challenges me. And it's amazing and it's life-giving and there is depth and there is richness and there is life and there is growth. So can we be hurt in community? Yes, but we can also be really healed in community. And so is it risky to be the one that initiates a coffee date or a lunch date or a workout date or even stopping by unannounced and just bringing pizza over to another mom who is with her kids at whatever, and you just show up unannounced and we have friendships like that where it's like, okay, my house is a mess and I'm in my sweatpants and I haven't showered and no makeup and I've got my glasses on and you can come here and this is the space for that. And so when you can have those friendships and you can have those relationships where you don't have to show up perfectly or they're going to sit there on your couch with your laundry and they're going to help fold it with you while your babies are running around like crazy. Or you can go to a coffee shop and go co-work with someone and you can say, gosh, this is actually a place where I'm really struggling in my business. What do you think? What ideas do you have? Community can be found in paid programs, but also actually more often than not, what does it look like to just show up for someone? And what does it look like to be committed to a group of people? Obviously, this Business and Bubbly is a networking community for women in business. So what does it show up? What does it look like to actually show up and to commit to a year membership and to show up on a regular basis and say, no, what, I'm actually going to make this a priority in my life. And I'm going to set aside this time because I know that I was created for community and I know that I can't go at it alone. I actually really believe that there is far more fear of going at it alone than there is the fear of being in the middle of imperfect people within the context of community. We are actually created for it. So my challenge for you is if you are feeling lonely is to actually quit living against the way that you were created, against your divine design. Take a risk. Be the one that initiates a coffee date or a little co-working date or get some girlfriends together. It's worth it. Initiate, even with the risk of being rejected. Initiate, even at the risk of not having a return message or a return text or even a return phone call. Pick up the phone and call someone. There is such richness and depth when we actually find our people and when we find our community, when we get plugged in. I love the saying is that belonging happens when we are seen and known and heard for who we are and for who we're not. So let this be full permission for you to be who you are, to find some people. It might be almost trying some people on, is this life-giving for both of us? Is there synergy here for both of us? And I also want to encourage you, don't run when things get hard. Don't run when things get messy. Don't wall off your heart when things get messy or when you get challenged. Some of my best and deepest friendships, they challenge me and they call me up higher and they don't let me settle and they don't let me, stay stuck in my mess. The best friendships, tolerance shouldn't be one of the top requirements to being a good friend. You don't need friends who can co-sign on your stupidity. When you're going off a cliff, you don't need someone to say you do you, boo, you just go, girl. You actually need someone to call you out and you need someone to call you up and you need someone to hold you accountable to higher standards. And you don't need acceptance when you are when you're acting crazy and when you are acting acting like a fool. You actually need help, right? And so do I. I need that too. I need accountability and I don't need someone to tolerate when I'm not acting the way that I know that I should be acting because of who I'm called to be, right? We were created for community, and good friendships, rich friendships, deep connection actually includes that accountability. So I just want to encourage you to be the one today that goes first. Reach out to someone, cultivate a connection, schedule, have that coffee date. And then if you feel like, okay, like I actually really feel like we could, like that there could be deeper connection here, and be vulnerable and be willing to risk and say, hey, I'm actually really intentionally cultivating some deeper friendships, and I would love to get to know you more, and I would love for you to get to know me more. And if you're open to that, like, let's grab lunch and let's grab coffee. And then if it seems like there's really good synergy there, and you're vulnerable and they're vulnerable and they seem like a safe person, then schedule another coffee date or a lunch date, or schedule another time and start to just really get real with people. So that's my encouragement for you when it comes to this community building series, is go first. Who can you, like, literally, when this episode is over in just a minute, who can you text or call or message right away and grab coffee and schedule coffee with? It's so, so worth it. It's worth kind of, filtering through or sifting through a few rejections in order to find your people. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. Go first and keep going first. Initiate and keep initiating. The community is worth it. The connection is worth it. And you were created for it. All right, my friend, have an amazing day. Cheers to your success, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.